Top of the morning, fight fans. This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Canelo Alvarez, Anthony Joshua, and Tyson, the Gypsy King Fury. Get this, Canelo could fight Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua as Hearn makes a bold heavyweight claim. Promoter Eddie Hearn sensationally suggested that the pound-for-pound king Canelo Alvarez could move up to heavyweight soon. Wow. Canelo Alvarez, ranked the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, can sensationally join the heavyweight division and face the likes of Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, claims Eddie Hearn. The Mexican superstar defeated the IBF super middleweight champion Caleb Plant via 11th round TKO early this month in Las Vegas. In doing so, Canelo added the belt to his WBA, WBC, and WBO titles to become the first boxer in history to be undisputed at 168 pounds. The 31-year-old has also reigned supreme at light middleweight, and light heavyweight as well. On Thursday, the WBC remarkably ordered a cruiserweight fight between champion Yunga Mekabu and Canelo, meaning the Mexican could possibly be jumping up to cruiserweight. The 34-year-old Congolese boxer has been defeated just twice in 30 fights, although he was knocked out by Tony Bellew in Goodison Park in 2016. A cruiserweight bout would force the Mexican to jump from 168 to 200, but promoter Hearn believes Alvarez could soon get his sights on the heavyweight division, and this is what he had to say. He said, "I think that Canelo and Eddie Reynoso, they want challenges. They want to dare to be great, which is a tremendous part of the sport. The Mekabu fight is a cruiserweight fight that would give him another world championship victory, would get a lot of people talking as it did last fight, and I think it's good. It's a good option for him. I think it's dangerous. I think it's a dangerous fight. I was speaking to Tony Bellew, who could be looking real good in a few months if this happens. And he said that Mekabu is a huge puncher, and very strong. Listen, he could move up and fight at heavyweight. I mean, Usyk's not a massive heavyweight. Trevor Bryant's a world champion as well. Can he compete against those guys? Cruiserweights first, maybe, but I like the fight against Mekabu. I think it's a dangerous fight. I think it's an exciting fight. And as I said, Saul and Eddie are interested in making history. They're not interested in having normal, boring fights. Every fight has to mean something. If Canelo has to jump up to heavyweight division, it could set up some mouth-watering clashes against Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. Let me counterpunch. If this was the case and Canelo was going to dare to be great, dare to be Roy Jones, dare to be Evander Holyfield, I think he would do it exactly this way. How? He would first go to cruiserweight to see how it feels, even though it's kind of contradicting because Canelo Alvarez himself has said 175 is too much for him. So 200 pounds being a cruiserweight should be way too much for him. But anyway, I guess people change their mind at, maybe it's some changes that happened with Canelo recently. It's with weight. But if he was going to take on the Congolese fighter, Mekabu, just for a stepping stone for a sake of feel before he ascends to another weight division, what does that mean? It means if he goes to heavyweight, go to heavyweight. Don't go up there and bullshit your weight in heavyweight. Don't, I understand fight someone like Trevor Bryant. That would be good because that would give him at least a belt. And Trevor Bryant would jump on that because it would give him a payday. So why wouldn't he jump on that? If Canelo decides to get bulky, stocky, Wolverine-ish and goes up to heavyweight, man, people will hate. How? Because we have David Benavidez, we have Arthur Beterbiev, we have Dimitri Bivol, we have Jermall Charlo, we have Demetrius Andrade. We have a lot of these fighters that will fucking cry Argentina. Okay, because they expected or they thought that fighter would at least come down when he's through doing whatever he's doing up at cruiserweight or light heavy or wherever he decides to go. But if he goes to heavyweight, I don't see him coming back down. I see him going to heavyweight and then possibly ending at light heavyweight, maybe. But if he goes to heavyweight and he's fighting guys like Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua, those guys, okay. Tyson Fury, no. Alexander Usyk, no. I mean, those guys just are too elusive. Not saying that Canelo couldn't compete. I'm pretty sure he can compete, but then for how long? I remember Tony Bellew saying this about Deontay Wilder. He said, I could see myself hanging in there with Deontay Wilder 4 or 5 rounds, maybe even 6 or 7, but eventually he will catch me. And then when he catches me, he will render me unconscious. Those are the words of Tony Bellew. And he was a cruiserweight guy, coming to light heavy and all that. And he went up to cruiserweight to take on Alexander Usyk. And speaking of Usyk, fighting a guy like Usyk is very challenging. I would love that fight between Usyk and Canelo. I would love to see what Canelo can do with a guy that has foot movement like Lara and Mayweather, because that's what you're dealing with that type of person. Then we will see, okay, well, how good did you really do? We've seen a 168-pound Caleb Plant survive 11 rounds with you, but what happens when you move up in weight and you deal with someone with that same style or with similar attributes? So if he wants to challenge him, hey, and go to heavyweight, people are going to hate, but you got to respect that. It depends on what he does when he gets there. Like Timothy Bradley said yesterday, it's about who you fight. So if you see an Anthony Joshua versus Canelo Alvarez, the shit would sell and break numbers in the heavyweight division. It would do that. It depends on what Joshua does now. If he gets those belts back and he's just that supreme being up there and he's been through a couple licks and, he's got his bearings back and a couple losses, and then all of a sudden Canelo wants to enter this circle of heavyweights. I mean, he would have to start somewhere, but I don't see him winning those fights. But then again, who knows? Because this is so far-fetched, him going to heavyweight. People used to come in the comments and say, oh, Canelo at heavyweight. And I used to laugh. I'm like, dude, please. What? So, but if Eddie Hearn's saying that, he had to get it from somewhere, right? You know what I mean? Because if he's going to 200, a place that really no one goes to, an island, a deserted island, why wouldn't go to heavyweight? Why wouldn't he get to 205? The only problem is Mauricio Suleiman has the Bridgerweight shit there that's really shitting on everything. But even if he did that, that would mean he's just that much closer to that part. And see, here's the thing, and people need to understand this about Canelo. Canelo, he goes to cruiserweight. He beats Mekabu. Let's say he stops Mekabu, just some crazy shit like that. He stops Mekabu. And then he's at cruiserweight already. Let's say he goes to Bridgerweight. And then what? He goes to Bridgerweight and fights someone like Oscar Rivas. Rivas is going to fight him. If Rivas could fight Dillian White for $1 million, imagine what he'll do for 5 or 4. Yeah, he'll fight Canelo Alvarez. And Canelo Alvarez is clearly more technically sound than any of those guys, especially like Rivas, because Rivas is a hard-punching, tough, rugged fighter, but he lacks skill to me. Technical savvy. That's what he lacks. But if he can fight those guys and get up to 220 pounds or something like that and fight at this Bridgerweight shit like Mauricio wants to promote, what could happen? Canelo could very well want people to come down to his weight, which would be shitty, but would they do it? See, it would be a lot of fighters that are smaller heavyweights. He could lure them down to fight them. You see what I mean? Like Alexander Usyk is one in particular. That would be a fight to have. You know what I mean? I think that would be the fight that could have. I don't think he wins that fight. But that would be the fight to have. And everybody from 160 to 168 to 175, I'm sorry, you're too late. Bars. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Eddie Hearn's predictions and thoughts of Canelo Alvarez going to heavyweight to take on Tyson the Gypsy King Fury, or Anthony AJ Big Femi Joshua? Tell me what you think. Please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.